All right, it is now 6:01 p.m. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. Ms. Perry, can you call the roll?
Mayor Stephanie Dalton.
Here.
Vice Mayor Holly Berry.
Here.
Commissioner James Harvey.
Here.
Commissioner Terry Holmes.
Here.
Commissioner Hazel.
Here. All right, for today's invocation, please join me in a moment of silence to reverently collect our thoughts, pray, and ready ourselves for this meeting and the duties to which we have been called. Okay, thank you. And now, Mr. Granum, will you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so our first item of business is a presentation. It does look like Senator Watson is not able to be here just yet. Do we want to just present the certificate of recognition and then we can welcome him if he arrives later? Okay. Mr. Grano, agenda item number 25-888, the presentation of the certificate of recognition from Senator Bo Watson.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners, and I will read this proclamation from the state of Tennessee. Whereas it is our privilege to recognize those venerable Tennessee communities as they celebrate important milestones in their histories, and whereas one such community is the city of Red Bank, which celebrates the 70th anniversary of its incorporation this year, marking 7 decades as one of Tennessee's finest cities. And whereas located in Hamilton County, Red Bank is a safe and thriving small-town community with an engaging, transparent government that builds on a rich history, provides excellent and efficient services, and welcomes all. And whereas, proud of their past and focused on their future, the citizens of Red Bank will come together on Saturday, June 21, 2025, to highlight the people, organizations, and services that contribute to making the city a wonderful place to live, in which to live, work, and connect. And whereas, the city of Red Bank is a thriving community with an integral part of the East Tennessee region, and it is fitting that the city be recognized on this auspicious occasion. Now therefore, I, Cameron Sexton, Speaker of the House of Representatives of the 114th General Assembly of the State of Tennessee, at the request of and in conjunction with Representative Michelle Renaud, do hereby proclaim that we join with the city of Red Bank in celebrating the occasion of its 70th anniversary, extending our sincere best wishes for the success, prosperity, and happiness of the citizens of Red Bank and the continuation of Red Bank's legacy as a successful Tennessee community. Proclaimed in Nashville, Tennessee on this 13th day of June 2025. And this proclamation is signed by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Michelle Renaud, Representative 27th House District, Greg Martin, Representative 26th House District, Todd Gardenhire, partial of our senator from the 10th Senate District, Bo Watson, senator also from the remainder of Red Bank, the 11th Senate District, Esther Helton Haynes, 30th House District, and Greg Vital, 29th House District.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Granum. We're very excited to have been around for 70 years and have this recognition. All right, so we will move right along to my mayor's report. Welcome, everyone. Thank you to everyone who came out to help us celebrate Red Bank's 70th anniversary. It was a great day with neighbors. I'm eagerly awaiting the timestamp booth's archive release of all the wonderful personal stories and news clippings that our neighbors and friends shared at the event. Shout out to our sponsors, our amazing staff, who were burning up all day in their uniforms, our local nonprofits, our food trucks, and our attendees for making this a birthday to remember. Please save the date for our inaugural Red Bank Arts Festival. The event will be held on September 27th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Red Bank Community Center, rain or shine, and will feature local artists, makers, and live music, dance, and art demos. Our public art board is currently taking artist applications at tinyurl.com/RBArtsFest. If you have questions, you can email the Public Art Board Chairperson, Tessa, at redbankart@gmail.com. I hope you all will join the City of Red Bank, Green Steps, and Be Caffeinated for a citywide cleanup of our park and recreation spaces in honor of Parks and Recreation Month. We'll be meeting this Saturday, July 19th at 10 a.m. at the large pavilion at White Oak Park for supplies and refreshments. And then we'll return at 12:30 p.m. after cleaning up for more refreshments and to return supplies. Please register ahead of the event at redbanktn.recdesk.com. From our schools, big congratulations to the Alpine Crest Beta Club. They recently participated in the National Beta Club Convention in Orlando, Florida, and placed in the top 10 in the nation in 3 of the 5 events they competed in. They received awards for 8th place in 4th grade spelling, 6th place in Reimagine, Recreate, Recycle, and 6th place in Meeting of the Minds. These are collaborative group events that they have to do together. So way to go, Ben, Finn, Leon, Nolan, and Savannah. We are so proud of you. And save the date for Red Bank Elementary's Better Together Workday on July 26th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. when they'll be working on getting the campus ready for the start of the 2025-2026 school year. And now we have our report from Vice Mayor Berry.
Thank you, everyone. I hope everyone had a safe and enjoyable Independence Day weekend here. I just have to share that my heart goes out to my state of origin and the hill country of Texas in particular, having experienced flooding and the aftermath firsthand and having attended summer camps in the hill country myself as a child. I find myself thinking of the families and communities of the flooding victims often this past week. While I am grateful that our community's risk of flash flooding is not as high as what was experienced in Kerr County on July 4th, Stringer's Ridge has flooded in the past and will one day flood again, though we don't know when. These events have continued to strengthen my resolve to manage flood risk in our community at every possible opportunity. Northside Neighborhood House is holding a school supply drive. You can shop their Amazon wish list or donate items at collection boxes at any of their locations. Top needs include Post-it notes, expo markers, tissues, paper towels, disinfectant, baby wipes, tape, Ziploc bags, glue sticks, Clorox wipes, batteries, paper clips, staples, and 1-inch binders. I'm sure they will take any school supplies they can get, though. And you can drop off donations at any Northside Neighborhood House location, their office, or their thrift stores, including one here in Red Bank. And finally, the next Red Bank Community Food Pantry is this Thursday, July 17th from 4:30 to 6 p.m. at Red Bank United Methodist. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Next, we have our report from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey.
Thank you. Good evening. A new salon is coming to Red Bank in the space where Bud's Florist has been. It will be known as Velvet Edge. My next listen and learn will be at the former Sabor, that's now Chattanooga's Eats and Chill, on Monday, August 18th from 6 to 7. I had the meeting last night because of an impending vacation next Monday. So I'll get back to the next 3 months for the 3rd Monday of the month. Their menu is updated at Chattanooga's Eat and Chill with hot dogs and other dishes while maintaining their original savory Costa Rican foods. As Mayor Dalton mentioned, the City of Red Bank and Parks and Rec and Green Steps will have the cleanup day this Saturday. I will be doing mine Friday because of my vacation on Saturday. Active older adults, that's been mentioned before, that meet here, will have bingo on Thursday, July 31st at noon for adults 55 and plus. So you can see the Red Bank website for more activities throughout the month. Thank you to Public Works for safety notices known as Be Alert, Be Aware. signs that remind us motorists of pedestrians that have the right of way on our streets. I will add for us a note of electric bikes that are on our street. They really look like fun, but they go pretty fast. And we, as motorists, need to be aware of those cycles on the road going at a higher speed, and that the cyclists who are driving those, be more cautious as we share the road with all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, we have our report from Commissioner Holmes.
All right, welcome to the meeting. Thanks for coming and watching, if you're watching online. Thanks for those that tried to attend our last food truck Friday in June. I was saddened because it was rain out like right before it happened, so I feel bad for the folks out there, but we will pick up food truck Fridays in a few more months. New schedule for the remainder of the 2026 community events will be posted soon if it is not already posted, so please check that out. I hope everyone is enjoying summer. Please get out and enjoy the weather at our local parks. The new dog park changes look awesome, and we're looking forward to phase 2 soon. As mentioned, please give back by giving time to the food pantry this Thursday or the community cleanup this Saturday. Also, check out the active older adult events. They can be found on the website and on the door right here as you come in. Also, submit ideas if you have any ideas that you may be interested in. Lastly, please read the monthly newsletter found on the website or sent to your inbox each month.
Thank you, Commissioner. And finally, we have our report from Commissioner Wilkinson.
Thank you. I can't say I have much to add to these comprehensive reports. No, I hope everybody's enjoying their summer. I know my son and I have been. We've been out on the Tennessee River in the canoe, and it reminds me of how amazing and diverse the wildlife and the ecosystem is around our area. So get out and explore. You'll see some cool stuff.
Yes, thank you. I was just hearing from one of our stormwater employees that there are beavers in Stringer's Branch, so keep an eye out. All right. So next we have the city manager's report, and maybe he will introduce our guest at this time. Okay, Mr. Granum.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I am very pleased to report that the nonprofit Citizens Advisory Committee, supported by your Community Development Department, is reviewing 20 applications for the second round of ARPA-funded microgrants.
Wow.
That's up from 8 this time last year. The commission can expect recommendations for consideration at the 19th August commission meeting. And speaking of the Community Development Department, the Director of Community Development has formally adopted her married name, Director Leslie Slay. I have placed her updated business cards at your stations on the dais. I encourage everyone to check out our engaging Facebook page, City of Red Bank TN, for the latest information and events. And Senator Watson, if you'll please join me. It is my pleasure to introduce Bo Watson. Senator Watson has served as a state senator for Tennessee's 11th district, covering a large part of Red Bank and some other neighboring communities in Hamilton County since 2007. A graduate of the Baylor School and the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga with a Bachelor of Arts magna cum laude in biology. He trained as a physical therapist at the University of Tennessee Center for Health Sciences in Memphis and has worked in that field for over 30 years. He currently is the Director of Sports Medicine and Therapy Services at HCA Park Ridge Medical Center in Chattanooga. Within the legislature, Senator Watson has held several leadership roles. He served as the Speaker Pro Tem from July 2011 to January 2017. And in 2018 was appointed Chair of the Senate Finance, Ways, and Means Committee, a position he continues to hold, while also chairing the Senate Rules Committee and the Joint Pensions and Insurance Committee. In his role as Finance Committee Chair, he leads on state budget and fiscal policy, helping steer Tennessee's financial planning and appropriations process. He is married to Nicole Watson, an attorney. He has one son, Greg Watson. Please join me in welcoming our Senator, Bo Watson.
Respect all that, I appreciate it, for sure. It's a pleasure to be with you. I had the honor of going and visiting the celebration that we had for the 70th anniversary of Red Bank's founding. But I had not been to Nashville to pick up a flag that I had flown over the state's capital. So tonight I'm here to present that to the commission. Driving in, I was reminded of the long attachment that I have to Red Bank. I played Dixie Youth Baseball, Red Bank, right out on the fields out here. The high school, as Commissioner very much know, was on Dayton Boulevard, so I competed against Red Bank athletes on their high school gym and on their high school field when it was over on Dayton Boulevard. So I also was on the Red Bank swimming team years ago. So I have a long affinity to the town of Red Bank, the city of Red Bank, and I'm certainly honored to represent it in our state's capital. So the governor had for me flown over the Tennessee state capitol, a flag commemorating the 70th anniversary of Red Bank's founding. This certificate just says this is a certified that the accompanying flag of the state of Tennessee was flown from the Tennessee state capitol for the city of Red Bank in honor of their 70th anniversary at the request of Senator Watson. Signed Governor. There you go. It's to the commission.
Thank you, sir, to you. If you don't mind, come on up, Steve. Steven's the intern of this, and he's gonna take a picture, so let me just.
Okay, Steve.
How about if you come back to here and look at you a little closer? No, come on over here, sit down. We will stage it. The commission will be behind us. Thank you, Senator.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Yep, congratulations.
Senator, if you could just hang on for a second. Yep. I would like to do something personally as a city manager. And I'd like to share just a brief moment. For many people who know, about a year and a half ago, the legislature passed legislation which impacted the way about 24 cities did their municipal elections across the state. And it was actually specifically for one particular city, and Red Bank was not specifically named. Well, the understanding from that legislation from the Supreme Court was it actually did apply to these other dozen or so cities. But we were not in a position as a home rule city to just say, well, our charter has changed. We needed a higher authority. It's not, the commission itself can't change the home rule charter. The staff can't change the home rule charter. Only the voters can change the home rule charter. But we didn't have enough time to actually do that. So we met with with Senator Watson, and Senator Watson exercised his privilege as a legislator to obtain an opinion from the Attorney General. And so we got that written opinion, and he worked with City Attorney Arnold Stoltz and myself. And the fact that he was able to obtain that opinion from the Attorney General, that was the finding of fact from a competent authority that our charter was in fact amended, and we could do our elections in accordance with the new understanding. Basically, how that played out is we eliminated districts and had all at-large elections. So our most recent election was conducted in that fashion. And so, as a way of saying thank you for feeling out me, the city manager, and all of us who are trying to tee up the commission to do everything correctly, I'd like to present you a city manager point.
Oh, wow, thank you.
Yes,
Well, I'm humbled. Yeah, that is correct.
Thank you very much, Senator. I'll just, I'll explain what's a little bit on this for those who haven't seen it. It's the seal of the city of Tennessee. And there's 4 words that circle the seal: integrity, excellence, and service. And those happen to be the core values of the United States Air Force, which had a pretty profound effect on me. And also the word transparency. Here in local government, that really is the currency of local government, is transparency. And on the back is a rendering of the geographical shape of the city of Red Bank, and the words vibrant and welcoming and safe. And those are straight from our mission and vision documents, and of course the 3 stars in the great state of Tennessee.
Wow, awesome. How many cups of coffee can I get with it?
Well, you might,
What's its value?
you might demand a beer for that one, actually.
Thank you to the commission, thank you, sir. That's kind of you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Great,
Don't mind.
thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, Mr. Graham, is your report complete?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right, we'll move on to item 9, our consent agenda, which contains the June 17th meeting minutes, agenda items on our recent capital outlay note, and our appointment of Pete Phillips to the BZA, an interlocal agreement for the maintenance of the Stringers Ridge Trail System, a new fire training program, a Parks and Rec Support Services agreement with Trust for Public Land, a contract for the restoration of the White Oak Detention Pond, a subscription agreement for capital improvements planning software, a restriping project that coincides with the State Route 8 restriping and resurfacing project, application for the placemaking grant, and the budgeted purchase of a new tractor for our Public Works Department. Are there any items that the board wants removed to the regular agenda for further discussion? If not, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as published?
I'll move.
Motion from Vice Mayor Barry. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
A second from Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey. Any discussion? Any comments from the residents present? There are no comments. Let's call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And moving on to unfinished business, we do not have any this evening. So moving straight forward to new business. Item A, public hearing and first reading of ordinance number 25-1282, an ordinance of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, to provide for the general revenue thereof for the fiscal year 2026, amending ordinance number 25-1281, first reading. Ms. Pickle and Director Perry.
Good evening, Commissioners. As we talked about earlier, this is the ordinance that will make the tax rate official. Earlier this year, in May and June, we voted to pass the budget that included the projected revenue that this would capture. The proposed tax rate is 98 cents, which is a 9% increase over the certified tax rate that we were passed down this year of 0.8968 cents, or 89.68 cents. As this was a reappraisal year.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anything to add, Director Perry? Okay. All right, do I have a motion to approve? I have a motion from Commissioner Holmes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Commissioner Wilkinson. Any discussion? We did talk about this all pretty extensively during our budget meetings. So this is just aligning that projected, additional tax revenue and the tax rate together. Okay. So I guess, Mr. Granum? Oh, thank you. If we don't have any further discussion at this time, we'll open up the public hearing. So anyone who wants to step up and give comments can do so now. Mr. Granum, would you like to
Thank you, Mayor.
make note?
This is the time for public hearing comments. Please observe these rules. Comments are limited to 3 minutes or less, and the city recorder will operate the timer. Please respect your direction and include any comments if time expires. Comments should be addressed to the board as a whole and not to a particular commissioner of the city staff or the audience. The commission is here to listen, however, in a public hearing, there may be dialogue back and forth. At this time, citizens are invited to the podium. Please begin by stating your name and address.
Okay, if we don't have any comments at this time, we will go ahead and close the public hearing. And see if there's any further discussion to be had before we vote. Okay, if there's no more discussion, Ms. Perry, can you call the vote?
Mayor Dalton,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Perry,
Yes.
Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey,
No.
Commissioner Holmes,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkinson.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries on first reading. We'll have second and final reading at our meeting on Tuesday, August the 5th. Moving on to our final item of business, item B, public hearing and first reading of ordinance number 25-1283, an ordinance of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Red Bank, Tennessee, amending the zoning ordinance and zoning maps to rezone property located at 223 Clift View from R2 residential to R3 residential. First reading. Mr. Pham.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a request to rezone 223 Cliffview from R2 to R3. I actually misspoke in the work session. It was actually a 3-2 vote. And I'll go ahead and explain why that is. At the time, we had the 2035 general plan adopted. We didn't have this new one, the comprehensive plan 2045. And there were some discrepancies between how the city was to guide multifamily development. But since then, and that's why we had the dissenting votes. But since then, we have adopted this plan, which is fully in support of this kind of infill development. In the comprehensive plan, they call it valley residential or mixed residential, which supports moderate density, broad mix of housing, especially in areas that are in proximity to the commercial corridor, Gable Boulevard. And for that reason, the staff recommendation and the planning commission recommendation is to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Pham. Do I have a motion to approve? Do I need to go ahead and open it up first for the public hearing?
Public hearing
First.
before we.
Okay, sorry. We'll open it up for the public hearing first. Does anyone want to step forward and give any comments on this rezoning? Hello.
Chapel 390. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I will be brief with my comments. I'm much more organized this time with this. But I want to express my objection to rezoning to the property of the following grounds. First is to the vision of planning integrity. The rezoning, in my understanding of the 2045 and at the time 2035 comprehensive plan, was that the Cliffview area is, as described in the 2045 document, of the lowest density ridge residential variation or designation, and that R3 is currently a mixed use designation without the process of zoning and ordinance adjustment having been not started yet. We're trying to bring it in alignment with the comprehensive plan. With the absence of that having been considered fully completed, the current R3 designation is implied to have certain approvals or process of approval with proximity toward commercial development, which is in opposition of the ridge residential adopted plan. And additionally, it lacks any zone transitional context, which is different from what had happened at the Midvale rezoning, which was adjacent to R3 development. And additionally, as more procedural or policy theory note or concern, there is potential that this could set precedent. For example, by spot zoning the parcel that could grant expanded rights, as referenced in Grant v. McCullough in TN 1954, that there was a litigation that occurred to reverse or deny a single parcel rezoning because it singled out one parcel to grant privileges, quote, not extended to others in the same neighborhood similarly situated, and that the action taken was not in furtherance of any general plan or scheme of zoning, and therefore constituted spot zoning. Also, there are, or maybe, rather, we will say, non-conforming units currently, but that does not give pause for consideration of precedent. And finally, that when there are exceptions granted, usually there is a clear or plainly explainable public interest, and as an individual parcel or an individual unit expansion, that does not seem to be the case. So it is my opinion that this reason request should be rejected in the absence of lack of clear zoning plan to be in alignment with.
Thank you, Mr. Bullard. Any further comments during this public hearing? Okay. If not, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. And now I will ask for a motion to approve.
I'll move.
Okay, I have a motion from Vice Mayor Barry. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a second from Commissioner Wilkinson. Any discussion? Vice Mayor?
I did get an opportunity to discuss this rezoning briefly with our planner, Mr. Pham, and I do regret that Director Slay had to run to an urgent meeting following our last one, so she's not here to comment on this. So I will try to do it the best justice that I can. We have a complete zoning and land use revision process imminent. I believe maybe the bid is already out for a consultant to guide that zoning and land use revision process. Am I saying that accurately? Thank you. So while I do recognize Mr. Bullard's concerns that with the way that our current zoning and land use is written, this would raise some concerns. It's my belief that it's in the spirit of, the comprehensive plan and the way that we are hoping to move the city in the future. Generally, with this instance more specifically, we're not talking about any new structures or changes to any footprints of any structures, but we're simply talking about, what's essentially an ADU, adding density simply through renovating an existing structure to have a single additional living unit. Now, is that entire neighborhood necessarily appropriate to, blanket rezone to an R3 to avoid spot zoning? Maybe not, but is, allowing a property owner to, gather some additional revenue and, support our city's wider goals of, adding population density that enhances their property value, which means it enhances our property tax revenues for that parcel, as well as adding additional population, which also adds to our, per capita tax revenues and customer base for our local businesses. Very small, gentle density improvements in existing neighborhoods like this, I think are the way forward for our city that, again, is landlocked, and we're not going to be seeing, many more, if any, like, Hartman Hills type subdivision residential expansions. But we're going to be seeing more
Until
like
we have more
this.
sewer capacity.
Well, certainly not until we have new sewer lines run. Not in the near future, at any rate.
Am I correct in understanding that that street is mostly R2? Is that correct? Yeah, and then the difference between R2 and R3 is
Triplexes are allowed in
fairly subtle. Okay.
Well, R3 it's residential commercial is the term for R3, the colloquial term, is that correct?
That may be, mostly what we see in the former general plan was that they wanted to use R3 as a multifamily zone. And what I recommend to the planning commission was that the connection between R3 and the commercial corridor is that in the commercial corridor, you have to abide by the design review standards. If you're not in the commercial corridor, multifamily units don't have to abide by those. And that's really where I think the big discrepancy between those two plans.
The primary difference between R2 and R3. It's the
Yeah,
design
and that-
review.
And that
Well-
they designed R3 to be in the commercial corridor, and this property is not. That was really the contention of the planning commission.
But R2, R3, those designations may not even exist, and if they do, they might be completely different definitions following our complete zoning and land use revisions.
Yes, and typically when we get requests like this, our main concerns are from the building official and the fire chief. And all their concerns were resolved via the work session of the planning commission. So that would be how ingress and egress work in this unit, parking, in case there was someone going to be parking on the street, fire chief wanted to know, is there going to be additional parking there so that our truck can get by, or can't get by, and we have to bump it out of the way, concerns like that.
Thank you.
If I'm not mistaken, the rest of the area looks like homes or duplexes, It's not a change to the whole structure.
Right.
I think I know seeing where it is. It looks like houses and duplexes.
That's
on the
right.
whole
That's
street.
That's right. Yes, you won't be able to tell a difference to the structure.
The only thing that you would really see from the street is additional parking space.
Right. So this,
Can you remind us what the transitions are for the dwelling? Was it a basement?
Yeah, they're
Yes.
renovating an existing basement.
so it's like I knocked the store when I was campaigning, so I recognized it. There's a stairwell up and there's like 2 units up here and then there's a basement below it. And I guess it's not occupied at this time or not renovated yet to be occupied. Yeah, I wondered about the parking. So they would are they planning to add a parking space just where the driveway is?
They're gonna expand the existing parking lot.
Okay. So it won't be in the road.
Presumably not.
Right, unless there's a visitor, temporarily. Okay. All right. I did have a question. So Mr. Bullard had mentioned something about the river or ridge versus valley, et cetera. I believe you had said it was a different designation in this comprehensive plan. Did I misunderstand?
Staff position is that, those land use designations are guidelines for the coming zoning ordinance. And so obviously when we do the zoning ordinance, it's gonna be much more detailed. It's not necessarily gonna be a parcel by parcel analysis, but we do have a lot of non-conforming neighborhoods like this one, where probably it should have been an R3 neighborhood, but it was just a blanket rezoning to R2. And so looking at the existing character of the neighborhood, it would probably be more accurately depicted as a mixed residential or valley residential, rather than ridge residential, which is primarily single family.
Okay.
It wouldn't really be appropriate to call this entire neighborhood valley residential because there aren't a single family development.
That's right.
So that's the staff.
They're all 2 or more units
Yes.
currently,
Yeah, duplexes and there's some triplexes.
and there's several.
Most of the street, yeah.
Yes, it's a very steep hill.
So
Vice Mayor.
there are multiple existing triplexes on this street that are non-conforming, currently zoned R2.
Yes.
Okay, so if that neighborhood were magically rezoned to its existing characteristics, it wouldn't necessarily be a spot zoning because there in fact are R3 uses happening in that neighborhood,
Yes, from the use perspective.
non-conforming.
It would look more like a medium to high density neighborhood.
Thank you.
Any further questions or comments? Okay. Since we had some more discussion, do we have any comments from the residents present before we vote on this item? Okay. If there are no more comments, Ms. Perry, can you please call the vote? Yes.
Vice Mayor Barry,
Yes.
Commissioner Fairbanks Harvey,
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkinson.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries on first reading. There will be a second and final reading, I assume, also on our August 5th meeting. Okay, now is the time for citizen comments from Red Bank citizens on items not on the agenda. Mr. Granum.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the time for citizen comments. Please observe these rules. Comments are limited to 3 minutes or less, and the city recorder will operate a timer. Please respect her direction and conclude any comments if time expires. Comments should be addressed to the board as a whole and not to a particular commissioner, the city staff, or to the audience. The commission is here to listen, not to respond or engage in back and forth, so please do not expect a reply during citizen comment. At this time, citizens are invited to the podium. Please begin by stating your name and address.
Okay, if we have no comments, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I do have one.
Oh.
Comment, please. I just have a little bit of I guess my nose got a little bit out of joint, but in the last meeting, there was discussion about how taxes impact some properties. Specifically, it was mentioned about my property tax. Might we refrain from mentioning personal information? If a Red Bank resident is curious about my taxed property, then they can discover that as noted on the website. There's no need to compare unless there's a conversation that leans that way. Nobody should care about my property tax unless I want them to know. If I want to address whether my tax increases, decreases, or remains the same, allow me the opportunity to share that information with the public who are present and or viewing through social media. I see no need for any of us to state our property tax status. Each resident needs to evaluate how their monies, the city's monies affect their household. Thank you.
Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
I have a motion from Commissioner Wilkinson. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Vice Mayor Berry. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.